Well, away from that, let's look at how we're going to get back our money that have been stolen. Now, the Auditor General says he's set to activate their powers of surcharge and disallowance. Now, every now and then, you hear of huge amounts lost by the state and actions and inactions as a result of actions and inactions of people in authority at various levels. And the stories die naturally. Well, that has or is about to change after the Supreme Court on the petition of Occupy Ghana issued a wake-up call to the Auditor General. The Auditor General has been speaking this week. There's one thing announcing what you want to do and how you do it, and another thing implementing it. Let's hear the Auditor General. When we come back, we'll take what he had to say and what they're supposed to be doing on in our discussion.
I want to be sure that this exercise does not translate into just victimizing people unduly. And for that matter, before I issue a certificate, I want them to build a complete file, and the file, normally I tell them to leave it in my office. I go through the file. When I'm satisfied, I issue the certificate. So 2 weeks ago, I issued the first batch of 4 certificates, and they are gone and served on the people.
He also disclosed that 7 more would have been served by close of today, bringing the number up to 11.
Starting from yesterday, I'm reviewing 7 more files. And before the close of day today, I'll be issuing 7 more certificates, because my review shows that work done is good. And so we will have reached 11. We are going gradually. Currently, the only person issuing this certificate is the Auditor General, myself, because I want to be sure that I start on a very good note. But I told my colleagues, anybody who goes to court, I want to score 100%. When they go to court, I must be able to prove to court that here is the reason why I say charge, and the court should uphold my position instead of their position. So we are doing that, starting gradually from the Auditor General. The Act provides under section 17, subsection 2, that the amount so specified is due 60 days after you are served with the certificate. So when we issue the disallowance or the surcharge, and you receive, or the certificate is served on you, you have 60 days to pay that money. It continues to say, within the 60 days also, you are allowed to appeal against the disallowance and the surcharge at the High Court. At the High Court, not any other court. You must go to the High Court and appeal against the surcharge and the disallowance.
He dismissed suggestions his office would use the opportunity to witch hunt former public officials.
I want to say to my fellow Ghanaians that those who have received this certificate, we want to assure you that we are simply doing our work. It's not because we hate you more than anybody or we dislike you. No, we are simply doing our work, and be assured that other people who fall in the same category like you will also receive their certificates. We are simply doing our work without fear or favor. And we will plead with the general public to cooperate with us. When I was sworn in, I made it very clear that my allegiance is to nobody but the Constitution of Ghana. And that is exactly what we are doing and we are going to do. Let me assure you that we are not operating under political influence. We are doing a professional work. The team we have here don't have colors. If they have one, they dare not show it. We are here to only serve Mother Ghana and nobody else interests. So I pray and hope that no political influence come our way, because it will not deter us from doing our work. We are just going to do what is required of us for our Mother Ghana.
He was, however, quick to add that no one will be spared.
The third one, which provides a lot of clarity, is that the Auditor General shall also take steps to recover the value of the loss or deficiency from the person or persons by whose negligence or misconduct the loss or deficiency were incurred, whether or not the person is a public servant. This is the area that was well clarified by the judgment, and I think it throws a lot of light on what we should do. Because before then, I was worried whether our mandate stopped at the public servant. And the judges said, no, the issue here is public funds. So in whatever hands it is. So if you are, the advice here is you are a private sector person and you deceive government or you inflate invoices or you dupe government, we can come after you.
Definitely, we should go after them and get the money. Who knows how much that money will do for us as a country. Let me start with you, George. that sounds to me like tough
yeah,
talk, which is good.
It's good to sound like that, but you see, my teacher will tell you that when you have difficulty with the genesis of anything, it will be difficult. In fact, no twist of logic will make you get the ultimate. Look at the people who appear first before the Auditor General. They are not the people who are responsible for the quote-unquote mess. So somebody was in office, the person left 5, 10 years ago. I have been employed probably from the university, and I'm going to rely on documents which are not usually enough to come and answer for the deeds of that person.
But I think that the people involved, if they are, they should be traceable, that they will go after them.
Yes.
The department will go after them.
The point I'm making, you began something before you established that there was there was wrongdoing. Wrongdoing somewhere. But my difficulty is that it may not be the case. Because if I come to read whatever in Ghana, whenever ministers are leaving office or DCs are leaving, they burn some document. We know that as a fact.
Well, I don't know that as a fact.
Oh, yeah, I know that I've worked in the district assemblies before.
They burn documents.
Some they burn documents.
Okay.
I know that as a fact. And so I've come to meet only what is there. And I'm speaking to that. Chances are that I may not be able to defend that policy. And if I'm not able to defend that, whoever is monitoring me will think that some wrongdoing took place. And based on that, somebody is going to be cited as having misappropriated public funds.
Really?
Now, when you search such a person, the Auditor General says they are going to trace the real parties, the active participant.
Well,
so when they come, yeah, that's common sense. When they now come, the burden of proof lies on the states. That becomes difficult. Because the person who explained the processes that led to you surcharging the person is not the person going to be standing before the judge in court. It is now going to be between the states and the real actors of the game.
And the state's ability to prove that there has been wrongdoing.
And that we know we've had serious problems with that. And so it's good when Mr. Domelevo sounded optimistic that he's going to do this. But hey, it is not that easy.
What conditions ought to prevail to make it not that easy, but to help him achieve the goals which we all agree are good?
For me, we can always start at a point. We can always start. For instance, we can say those who were in office in the last 5 years, I'm sure most of them are alive. We can start and make sure that henceforth, people who are at post, before they leave or are transferred, the auditing is done.
Before people leave their various offices.
So that when that is done and you've committed some wrong somewhere, you will be held responsible.
But if people are aware that they're going to be audited, then they will still, like you say, bend the documents, bend the evidence anyway before they leave office. If they know.
That is when you know. But you are transferred, you may not know. Just as any time there's a change in government, or even when the government is there, chief directors are usually transferred. You go from this ministry to another. It's a normal practice.
Right.
So before you transfer that person, you go and do that kind of auditing. So that if there's something wrong, remember that it is not done by individuals. It's usually a group. And my question is, when it comes to all these things, we leave out the governors of the institutions. Some of these policies are normally initiated by the board of the institution, who are normally the rulers, the political appointees.
They make the decisions.
Yes.
The business decisions.
Yeah, so well, maybe I'm a board chair and say, Gifty, look, this is the company, we are in charge, we want ABC, so go and implement this. Then you go and do it, and you end up being in trouble. What about the person who engineered it?
Well,
so we need to do a holistic work if we need to fight this. This is corruption. There must always be guilty confederates. Until we fish out those people, it will be very difficult to get to where we want to be.
Well, we'll see. I will try and be optimistic about it. Kofi, what do you say?
Yeah, of course. That's good. because in the past we've had situations where the Auditor General's reports goes to Parliament, and we all see it on TV,
Yeah.
and it gets nowhere eventually. But we thank Occupy Ghana for setting the benchmark. Occupy Ghana went to the Supreme Court
Right.
to seek interpretation of some of these things. And you see, as well, developed democracies, what has made developed democracies has been civil society, how they push agenda.
Right.
You see, so we're lucky as a country to have Occupy Ghana pushing this agenda. We are looking at about, according to Occupy Ghana standards, we are looking at 40 billion
But the point is that
stolen by some group of people.
fair enough.
How do we get it? Gifty, see, the thing is that in the past, we have situations where these issues come up. They go to Parliament, Appointments Committee, we see it on TV, nothing happens, I'm telling you, nothing happens. Now, for once, we've had Occupy Ghana going to the Supreme Court to seek interpretation, to seek redress. They took the AG on, they took the Auditor General on, and there was a ruling. And let me tell you, two of the rulings, very key. One, that the Auditor General should take immediate steps to retrieve every money stolen. In the past, it appeared they didn't have, the power to do that.
They did.
But they were not doing it.
Right.
So the Supreme Court gave them. Thankfully, our current Auditor General has seen wisdom in that. So go and pursue it.
The issue has been how?
Number two. Yes, but of course, they have the systems. Number two, if there are issues of criminality, make sure they are tried. So the Auditor General says, okay, I've heard this, I'll work on it. And he went to work. Just recently, he organized a press conference and told us that 11 people so far have been indicted, have been surcharged, so to speak, at least using the Supreme Court words. The issue is this: if you are found to have stolen state money, you are going to pay the money back with the Bank of Ghana rate. I think it is deterrent enough.
But how do you find that? That's the point that George was trying to put across. How do you say for a fact and prove that Kofi has stolen money?
Don't worry. The Auditor General is not working as an individual. He has the staff, everything in place. You know what? I was at the press conference because I wanted to understand what they were doing. He made it very clear that, you see, the legal processes are being followed to somebody will say the letter.
To the letter, right. now,
so they are saying that all those who have been found to be, it's now going to court. That one, let's agree. It's not that they are guilty. So far, they have not mentioned anybody's name.
Okay.
They have declined to mention anybody's name.
Which is fine.
Which is fine, because
maybe
according to their
avoid any.
No, according to even their practices.
Okay.
They can't
I didn't know that.
Mention that. So they won't mention anybody's name.
Okay.
So then they will go to court. But they are mindful of the fact that the accused can appeal. So they want to have a solid case
before they go to court.
So what I'm saying is that they should just, somebody will say, cross all their T's, dot their I's, and make sure that we have a solid case. So that all those who have been accused will get the money back to the state. Because this is state money. We have had situations where people buy vehicles. Do you know people buy vehicles? And they get nowhere.
Do you?
Some of them. And it's one thing that I loved about what they did was the fact that even the dead, you will not go scot-free. Even the dead.
Even the dead, those who are dead.
If you steal money and you are dead, they will trace you, probably confiscate your assets, and get the money back to the state.
Are you confident that this will, the Auditor General in this particular venture will be successful? and what ought to be done to make his work easier?
I have no reason to believe that he will not be successful, because he has given us the indication. First of all, he has given us the lists, just that he didn't mention names publicly, but he is confident. And he has made it very clear that the legal processes will be followed fully to avoid unnecessary appeals.
I see.
So that we get what we are due as a country.
There are concerns that people raise about those who are in charge, that most of the time, even if the system has to be adjusted for the better of society, it will not be adjusted, because the people who are to adjust it are the same people in charge. So if the same people in charge, I mean, let's say people are in strategic positions and they have been in such shady deals, and they know that the Auditor General is going to come after them, don't you think they will frustrate the system and make it very difficult for him to progress with his work?
That's political interference.
Well, political interference is not new to us in this country.
Of course.
We know it happens all the time.
So we are hoping that the institutions will live up to expectation.
It's just a hope, right?
Of course, but I don't have any doubts about our institutions.
Okay.
I don't. See, we are growing as a country, and we should take it easy.
All right.
Even the best democracies, even the US, it's not all that rosy.
Well,
why a president is able to remove the FBI director, it's not a joke. So you see,
that's because the FBI director will not allow the president to have his way with it.
But the structures, wasn't
so
the US president who came to Ghana to tell us that we need strong institutions?
We didn't need him. Common sense should have told us that we needed strong institutions to work with it. But anyway,
exactly the point.
Anyway, well, let me take your final words on this, and then we'll move on. I mean, I will only want to remain optimistic and wish him all the best, and wish him very well. That this
what I would say is that let's not give false hope, because when you know how the public sector works, the Auditor General's report will normally use the word misappropriate.
Right.
It doesn't mean the people took the money and
stole
went
it.
and they probably bought. You know, when you work in a public office and the board is spoiled, you are not supposed to even fix it with your own money. So if there's a budget for that, and use the budget to buy computers, they will surcharge you. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the people
have stolen
the money.
But some people have
I was asking the auditor and said, yes, there are procedures, just that if you don't follow the procedure. So there are so many issues involved.
But some people have stolen money.
Some may have stolen money. So if you tell them that they spend so and so on hampers, which is not acceptable, maybe in court the person will refer you to America.
And they will be able to defend themselves.
Defend that. So if it is fair to defend America at the top, it should be fair to defend hampers at the down.
and like you say about falsehoods, at the end of the day, people will feel they'll feel like, but we know they stole it, but you cannot prove it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Mr. Auditor General, we wish you all the very best. We as Ghanaians are all very optimistic that this will work. We actually want it to work, because we know that people are stealing money, or monies are being misused, and children are dying under their own school buildings. Anyway, let's look at the towing levy saga. I mean, this is a matter that won't go away. That's like most of the things, like Galam say, won't go away. So we know that there's carnage on our roads, something that we've been dealing with as a country, and we've been trying to work at it. It doesn't seem to be working. We seem to be fluctuating in our the successes that we record. So there's this towing levy that is a part of a whole. It's part of a law actually that's supposed to make you and I pay something, maybe small, so that when your vehicle breaks down on the road, there will be a company that you're supposed to report to, and then they will tow away your vehicle because you've already paid, and well, avoid any other accident, because they according to figures from the Road Safety Commission, etc., the police, NTTD, etc., stationary vehicles on our roads account for a certain amount of accidents on our road. The figures they put down has also been a topic for debate, so I won't go too much into it. But this week we saw in Parliament that the fact that it's been okay. The Parliamentary Committee on Transport says, well, they have given their opinion on it. It's okay. It appears a lot of people are taking that to mean that this is going to be implemented, that government has taken a decision, but what we are hearing from government sides, at least from the Ministry of Information, is that government has not taken a decision on the matter. Is the media doing more harm than good by, you know, the way we've done the story and giving people, appear to be giving people the impression that this has actually been committed to, the government has committed itself to this when it hasn't? Would you say that?
No. You see, government is only being smart. The truth is that if the drivers hadn't come out and if all the other opponents hadn't, the thing would have been implemented.
Okay.
How did they start in the first place? It was when the Road Safety Commission and the Road Management Services Limited made an attempt to implement it. That was what generated the brouhaha.
Okay.
So the ministers, I spoke to the minister, yes, there's not been any decisive step taken by government. But of course, that is just a very brilliant political response to that. But you see, this towing levy, Gifty, for me, it's a lazy way approach if you want to prevent carnage on our roads.
That's what lots of people have said, but I'm wondering why. Why would you say it's a lazy
We
way
have enough rules in the system, enough to prevent carnage on our roads. You telling me that disabled vehicles and stationary vehicles are responsible for the carnage? Move from here to Cape Coast. Move from here to Kumasi, and it's even better, move from here to Koforidua and ask yourself the number of rest stops that are there. None. I can drive from here to Tamale. If I'm tired on the way, what will I be doing? I will need a place to rest, especially when it's in the night. But there is no place to rest. If I feel like sleeping, I'll have no alternative than to stop by the roadside and rest. And so if that happens, and somebody gets an accident as a result, you tell me that it is because my vehicle is disabled or was stationary, but there's an inherent measure to curb that. You fail to do that. The insurance policies, those who do comprehensive insurance, that is catered for. When your vehicle is down somewhere, accidental or whatever, the insurance company is supposed to come and take it away. That we've looked at it, ignored it, and we brought in this. Now, this policy tells me that if my vehicle is comprehensively insured and yours is not, we are all going to pay the same amount. If I take very good care of my vehicle so that it will not break on the road and you do not, we should all pay. And the sad thing is that if you read through the document, it is not a matter of paying. No. After you've paid the money and they tow your vehicle beyond a certain number of kilometers, you will pay for the extra cost. And when they go and leave it wherever they've told it to, after 72 hours, you are charged every minute. So, assuming you are involved in an accident, you are in a hospital battering your life, your vehicle is towed to somewhere, 72 hours, they are charging you. Is that a fair policy? You are charging motorbike. And some the drivers will ask you, na moto nso ye too. So there are so many question marks, and the company involved. Government is talking about government is talking about creating jobs. If we are going to institutionalize this within the local government ministry for the various MMDs to handle it, you know the number of jobs it will create. Is it not wiser for the district assembly in Kentampo to be able to take care of vehicles that will be accidental within?
But there's a thing about public institutions, you know, like our district assemblies, etc., and how effective they have been.
That is a matter of leadership, and the president has demonstrated that he's a new leader and he's going to do things differently. So that argument for me shouldn't hold. We have leaders now who have said they will be different. So let's give it to the local assembly. My vehicle breaks, say, at Sampa.
And it's not everywhere, actually, according to Bryce Simmons, the piece that Bryce Simmons put together. He said he studied the law, took his time to study the policy, and put out a few, I think about 32 pointer document. And in that he said it's not everywhere. So there are about 20 points in the country, about 20 or 7 points in the country. It's not nationwide.
Even those points, Road Service Management Limited, those companies that are going to implement this, certainly they are based in Accra. They are not more decentralized.
But they have subsidiaries.
Yes, but they cannot be effective when it comes to their subsidiaries like the district assemblies.
Okay.
So somebody's vehicle breaks I say Kaswa. And you think that the closest assembly shouldn't do it?
Okay. Kofi, you're smiling in a way that suggests to me that you don't agree with George.
Oh, no, not really, not really.
What's your position?
I think that this current policy is a bogus one. It's a completely bogus one. Let's look at, and some have argued that, well, after all, this thing started in 2012. You know, the agreement between National Road Safety Commission and the Road Management Commission Limited, like you mentioned, was signed in 2013. But this whole process started in 2012. So the argument is that, of course, it has started under the SWA regime and all that. Yeah, I'm saying that.
That's when we draw politics into it, and
then
then everything becomes a foolish case. But it appears it won't. So far, we've seen.
But the point is that Gifty, this, and I've heard this weekend. I just decided to monitor media discussions, and some people were arguing that, well, it's a good decision. Let's try to
look at the implementation.
It is a bad decision.
Very bad.
I see.
I don't see why, for instance, you are asking me to pay between 20 and 200 cedis for somebody, a reckless driver, who leave a broken down vehicle in the middle of a highway. Then I am supposed to pay for the person to come. I pay government to come. Don't we have citizens? You see, recently, the Road Safety Commission had a press conference, just recently, a press engagement, so to speak.
Was it a stakeholder forum?
So to speak.
This week?
Yes.
Right.
And you know what they tried to do? To explain to us. Because you see, what is prominent out there is the towing one,
Right.
where your vehicle gets
but there
broken
are other
down.
parts of the policy,
There are other
right?
parts. So to try to explain it, and it got me more annoyed than even the initial. They said that, well, they will provide even ambulance when a tree falls down on the road. They will go and tow, single quote, the tree. Can you imagine that? Don't we have the ambulance service? It is a completely useless exercise. But I don't have a problem with Road Safety Management Limited. You know why? It belongs to just one, Sian, right? He is a businessman.
Sure.
And he has gone into bid. And it turned out to be, I think it's sole sourcing. People are complaining about the fact that it's a monopoly. But I don't even get it, because if 20 people will have to do the same job, it is I don't know the right word to use. It is not the right thing to do. It is not the right thing. So we don't, I think that it is just not right. You can't ask me to pay for services that the state can provide. When a vehicle breaks down somewhere, we should get a state agency to go and get the vehicle.
Right. Okay. Well, unfortunately, we seem to be running out of time.
Yeah,
And I beg your pardon, we have about two other issues that we need to look at. We have to look at the, we said we'll touch briefly on elections in Kenya, and of course what has happened in Rwanda. Landslide win for Mr. Paul Kagame. And then we'll also touch briefly on some of my colleagues, I will say, our colleagues, because we're all in the media fraternity, who have been assaulted, physically assaulted in Kumasi. Let's try and do that. These two topics, let's try and see if we can address it briefly. So last week, I think on Friday or on Thursday, two of my colleagues, Erastus Asare Donko, I've forgotten the other person by name, but then they were in Kumasi. They had gone to a construction site which had been earmarked as unsafe, and they had gone to do a story there. Then they were not molested, they were physically assaulted, they were beaten, you know, their camera destroyed, etc. And then the workers who did this to them went ahead of them to the police station to report, make a report of unlawful entry. We at Multimedia have also gone to file a counter report at the police station, of course, but we'll see how this pans out. But then it worries me as a journalist, and I'm sure it worries you as well. Before we try and deal briefly with the African elections, what are your thoughts? Let me start with Kofi. What are your thoughts about Kumasi and about the assaults on
I think that
some of our colleagues?
Ghana is seen as the beacon of democracy. You know why? Because press freedom is so strong. If you go to some of the Arab countries, currently there's this Al Jazeera reporter who went to Egypt and I think has been captured. And you know what they are doing? They are doing a countdown. We are blessed to have a country full of, free press freedom and all that. And we should do everything in our power to protect it. Somebody is working as a journalist and look at what is happening. You see, the problem is this. We should have a way of protecting our people. That is what hurts me. We should have a way of protecting our people. If, for instance, the person who assaulted or even prevented the multimedia journalist from working, okay, is dealt with ruthlessly, you know what is going to happen?
Right.
It will serve as deterrent to others. But in our setting, these things go on, and you have Media Foundation, they bring the issues out and nothing happens. It is not right. Ghana is a very serious democracy. Press freedom is upheld. We don't joke with our press freedom.
Well, we'll see how that case goes. George, let me take your views on this, and then we'll
I
delve
think
into
it is
Kenya.
very, very unfortunate. It is not in anybody's interest to attack a journalist. A journalist is not a threat to anybody. It is not for nothing that when they say, hey, run away, people will be running away and the journalists will be running towards that place. They work for the interest of the people. So why attack a journalist? It's not, it's abnormal, absurd.
Okay.
So I think the GJA and the judiciary should come in here. Enough of these things. In the past, it will happen and they'll issue statement condemning.
And then that's it.
Well, this happened last week, so hopefully by
there should
Monday.
be something. There should be an action.
Yeah, hopefully by Monday we'll see how that particular thing goes. But I'm so constrained with time right now. We were supposed to talk about the UGCC affair and the Saltpond affair and all of that, but I don't think we have enough time. Let's look at elections in Kenya and then the outcome in Rwanda. Rwandans have voted. I mean, they have decided that Paul Kagame all the way. Paul Kagame, has won in that election. In Kenya, they are voting today. Former President John Mahama is one of the members who's leading the ECOWAS. He's the chairman actually of the ECOWAS mission to Kenya, so he's there. I'm wondering what your thoughts are. Have you been following the elections?
I've been following the elections, and Kenya is an interesting country. You see, ethnicity is a very dangerous factor in the elections in Kenya, and so the ethnic factor is something that we should be worried of. Remember 2007, up to 1 million people.
Well, we're
died.
told 1,200. I'm not.
Well, the figures I have, I have 1,000 here. Yes, 1,000
yeah.
people died. Just one election, and those were the official figures. This is a contest between two friends, Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. They are like friends. Remember Jomo Kenyatta, the first president of Kenya. His son is Raila Odinga. Kenya's first vice president, that's Jomo Kenyatta's vice, Ojinda Odinga. His son is Raila Odinga. So it's two family then doing their politics. And people are killed, tensions here and there. The man in charge of the electronic database was found tortured and killed.
Yeah.
The people who were displaced in 2007, we've still not been able to resettle them. And when you look at the East Africa, that part, the Great Lakes region, the place has been in turmoil for some time now. And Kenya, which is making progress, and it will make progress to some level and then move back. The ethnic factor is a problem that we should look at. Our former president, John Mahama, is there. Well, his presence is good.
Well, he's not the only Ghana factor. He's not the only, bit of Ghana in there. There's also, we also told that Peter McMahon, who was a campaign manager for the NPP, was also he was like, so to speak, deported. And I've not quite followed it, so I won't be able to speak to it so much. But I know that he's been there, but then he's been deported. And I don't know. I'm not sure, Kofi. Are you aware of exactly what the issues are?
Because he belongs to a group. You see, on the African continent, and he was leading the group to the place, and they said no, we won't allow you.
Well, why? Do you know why they decided not to allow him?
Probably because of the group itself. Because my understanding is that the group is affiliated to the opposition.
Oh, I see.
So it was quite difficult for them to accept him. So it had nothing to do with McMahon as an individual. It was
a group, more about the group.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what about Rwanda? You've been following Rwanda, so that you come in with your thoughts on Kenya and Rwanda. Rwanda. I mean, before we quickly judge him, you want democracy. Democracy is about going to the polls and voting and choosing who leads. Well, the people have spoken. So people are condemning Paul Kagame. So they can't believe that he has won at a 90%, and people are like
99, isn't it?
99?
I mean, really.
98%.
Yeah, but they voted. If they didn't vote, if it was some kind of a socialist, extreme socialist state, then but they voted. People voted.
Well, it's okay, but you see, I'm one person who likes His Excellency Paul Kagame. You see, technically, the guy has been in office since 1994. He was the one who led the Rwandan Patriotic Front.
Is he doing
from Uganda.
Well? Is he doing well?
He's doing well.
Well then.
He is doing
people
well.
Are voting for
and
him
in
because
2015, when the referendum was held, the guy came out on national television and said, look, I am one person who doesn't think that only one person can do it. But the people say they want me. So let the people decide. The people decided. Remember, he's not the only person. Julius Nyerere ever had a similar thing. The people liked him. You cannot be faulted if people like you. But the danger is that in Rwanda, from day one, the minority Hutus have ruled. Kagame is the second Tutsi. The first was temporal. I've forgotten his name. So if you look at the genocide, remember, Tutsis are the minority, just about 20% of the population. And the genocide that killed a lot of them, a moderate Hutus. This guy came, he's been able to unite the people. They are united as one people. The question is, how sure are we that in his absence, the next leader will be able to maintain that? That for me is very important. So I thought that Paul Kagame, his factor would have been like that of Nelson Mandela. He should step aside and look at somebody come in so that we'll be assured that Rwanda will move on. It's one of the good cases in Africa now, Rwanda and Uganda. So it is in our interest.
Uganda?
Yes, Uganda is doing well.
Well, he's been really?
Museveni is doing well.
Really?
The economy is going doing better than us in Ghana.
I see.
So it is good for us to. The guy can still run to 2034, 59 years. That for me is problematic. But for now, the people have decided. I don't know why they disqualified the lady from contesting. Because looking at the dynamics, she wouldn't have made any difference in.
You never know. You never know.
But she couldn't have
I think that Rwanda is one of the African countries that have done very, very, very well.
Sure.
So, I mean, you say democracy, they're voting. But there are people, especially in the West, who condemn, him, especially because he tried to change the constitution so he could be in power, etc. But, well, this is
the West will always condemn you if they are having some interest. Why are they not condemning Joseph Kabila?
Well, they also raised some very key issues about how media is not allowed to operate freely. Well, of course, there is a history about the role of the media in what happened in Rwanda, etc. But they also raised those legitimate concerns about the role of the media there, and the fact that the media, there's a gagging of the media, especially in that place. So it's a very interesting twist. Very complex issue, if you ask me. Kofi, your point.
Well, it's quite, for me, you see, Paul has done quite well. after the Rwandan genocide in '94, Rwanda was just a very what's the right word?
Rwanda?
Yes.
It was what?
I'm just looking for the right word. Maybe a useless country after the genocide, like you said.
Yeah, after the genocide.
The Tutsis and because of one of our own, they created a problem there.
But see, when I hear that, I disagree.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
the
I mean,
the media only, it's just like the Northern conflict, they say Guinea Fowl. There were factors in 1991.
History is there to support this argument.
The guy only made a statement.
And you know what a statement can do?
It only
you know what,
something.
You
it
know
would
what,
have happened anyway.
You know what a reckless statement can do? You know what a reckless statement can do? So the point is that he came in and he has stabilized Rwanda. That one he has. He has been in power for, if I'm right, 70 years. And now he has manipulated the constitution.
Manipulated the constitution. He called for a referendum.
Oh,
the referendum went
the
way it went, and he got
he's going to be around
himself
for
more time to be in power.
2034, like you said. We are in 2017.
What for you is the problem with that?
What kind of constitutional arrangement is that?
There was a referendum. If we want to amend our constitution today, as Ghanaians, we'll have to call for a referendum.
It is
if it
manipulative system.
Why do you say
you
so?
See, he has done well. And like he said, you see, he should have thought of a way to get out of the system nicely, to have his image intact.
To be a statesman.
Like
people are saying John
like
Mahama
Thabo,
should be.
Like Thabo, of course. Like Thabo Mbeki did. Like even Mandela did. You see. But he's not doing that.
Okay.
He wants to be in power. And he's, the last time I checked, I don't know, maybe my figures.
So for you, what's the problem?
99%.
No, what's the it's not 99%.
You're talking about Zimbabwe.
No, that's not 99. But what's the problem with it? I mean, people went to vote. He secured
Kagame was the one who led the Rwandan
What did he get
in
the election?
98.6%.
I was talking about 99. Do you know what 98.6?
Oh, sure, mathematically it's 99.
You convert
but
and
what's
it's
the problem? Is there a problem?
It is.
Why?
Please. It
Finally.
is. You can't have a human being who thinks that the whole country, I am the most intelligent person.
No, that's not. I don't think that's the point.
It is the
point. Is that the people want me and they voted for me.
Please, please.
But we wish them well. We wish Rwanda very well. I mean, actually, I got a picture from Rwanda. Someone, I have a classmate. In Rwanda.
Wow.
My mate from University of Westminster
Wow.
in London, who sent me a picture from, I don't know where he was watching it. He didn't really tell me whether he was watching on
with DSTV, of course.
Perhaps. And I was really impressed that, oh, you were watching JoyNews in Rwanda. I don't know, Paul, if you're watching. I'm sure you're not because you're following the elections. But we'll bring you more of this in the course of the week. But this has been Editors Forum. We talk and talk and talk, and what we try to do is to strike a balance, with objectivity here from editorial perspectives. Of course, I have been here with George Asakeri, host of Behind the News at GBC, and also Kofi Encho, who is editor at the Daily Heritage. My name is Gifty Andopia. I've been doing this with David Odro, director, Yao as well, directing, and I'm trying hard to remember all of the names. Forgive Amedeka was my producer. I don't know the names, the faces behind the names of the faces behind the camera, but well done to you guys. Sound, everybody, thank you very much for supporting the show. In less than 30 minutes, we'll bring you JoyNews Prime. My name is Gifty Andopia. Many thanks for your time.